Welcome back. Tonight, we are getting to the point and digging deeper into local issues. And tonight, we're talking about that drought. And that's because it's literally no secret that California is just getting drier. January, February, and March were the driest first 3 months in the year of California's history. And it's not good news, especially for some farmers and ranchers. So limits are once again being put on water use for farmers in the Central Valley. Just last month, the federal government said it won't deliver water to farmers south of the Delta. North of Sacramento, wells are being used up. And tonight, ABC 10's meteorologist Carly Gomez joins us because, Carly, as you found out, it's getting increasingly harder for farmers to live and grow, not just on their ranch, but also their farmlands.
Yeah, Alex, the drought, that is the biggest reason farmers, ranchers are having such a difficult time here. They're dealing with warming temperatures that's leading to record heat. They're seeing a lack of water leading to that drought. And of course, now water regulations is a huge issue, not only just on state levels, but federal levels. And that's been the biggest issue here for our friends in Glenn County. Our friends on Divide Ranch, they live near Willows. That's just north of Sacramento along I-5 near Willows. And if you just go toward the west there, you see they are in Elk Creek. And this area is very dry land as it is. This family owns and operates a cattle ranch and has been recognized for their sustainability in this area and their efforts. But that was my focus on the story, was to check in on the sustainability, the conservation efforts they were doing there. But what I found out was they were getting that water, less water than they needed, and their cattle now cannot be raised on the ranch there year-round. Home on the range. It was a sentiment held dear to Americans headed out west, and is still held dear to thousands of others like Mike and Kathy Landini.
So this is where they're at. Hey, girl. We're from Contra Costa County. I'm a fourth generation Contra Costa Concord person.
I grew up in Palo Alto. We knew we didn't want to live in the Bay Area. From the time I was a kid, I knew that it wasn't where I belonged.
When the opportunity presented itself, the Landinis knew they needed change. And they found it in Elk Creek.
There was this big sign that said, cattle ranch for sale. I wanted wide open space, and so did Mike.
That wide open space turned into 2,000 acres.
That was a stage stop. That's where the house was originally. They had moved it to here. It was 3 or 4 parts that had been rented for probably quite a few decades.
As the Landinis quickly realized, a lot of work needed to be done to maintain the land.
And we weren't really looking for a cattle ranch.
There was no grass. There was no grass left. It had been overgrazed. It had been extorted.
They profited from renting out their land as neighboring ranchers looked for more feed for their cattle. But without healthy soil and water, it's no easy task.
This last few years has been a real eye-opener.
The last 3 years, we lost the ability to do that the last 3 years. The groundwater has 3 of the 4 wells have basically dried up.
It's a sentiment ringing true for so many California farmers and ranchers, including rice farmer and Congressman Doug LaMalfa.
The allocations for what is known as the water contractors is going to be zero. California grows 90% or more of about at least 12 different crops nationally that Americans use.
It's a water situation the congressman says needs federal attention immediately.
If we don't grow it here, then it has to be imported. Prices are already up.
Back at the ranch, it's the only thing that matters.
Water. It's all about water.
And pumping water isn't much of an option as the wells run dry, even for their own drinking water.
We need an emergency declaration on our water supply because we are going to run out of food grown in this state or even this country the way it's going.
As prices for just about everything are going up, so is transportation. The lack of water means these free-roaming, grass-fed cattle need to be transported to greener pastures in Oregon.
They all go by truck, they all go by semi, and those semi loads went from $900 to $1,600 in the last 10 years. So that adds up. Every cow is costing more to get her there and get her home.
As the peak of this year's storm season comes to an end, with below average rain for the state, the Landinis say, like all their other obstacles, they'll find a way to get through it.
We provided livestock water with our wells and our tanks, and then this year we ran out of that water.
God has a plan, and it really fostered everything into what our life was supposed to be, at great loss, but at great gain in so many other ways.
It's a home on the range they aren't giving up on. Well, Alex, this area was a conservation habitat due to all that natural grass that they do have there. And the Landinis also had 27 natural ponds there, providing water for wildlife and for their cattle. Now, we shot this story in the middle of winter, and you could see already no water in those ponds. Unfortunately, it's an issue that's going to get worse each year as rainwater falls below average.
Yeah, and also take a look at this. No water means less money for California. When looking at agriculture, it's estimated that California farmers did not plant nearly 400,000 acres of their land last year due to a lack of water. And that's according to a UC Merced study. And researchers found that all that unused land cost the agriculture industry more than $1 billion. Nearly 9,000 agricultural jobs were also lost. And this is just a part of the big drought story that we will continue to follow. But if you have something that you want us to look into, all you have to do is just text the point at 916-321-3310. And speak